Hi there, welcome back to the dojo. I am Russ Leach, I'm the comic book black belt, and this is one of a series of videos where I'm going to talk about this book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. There are lots of books out there that profess to be able to teach you how to draw comics, and a lot of them are really good. But this is the daddy. This is the book. If you've got one book to teach you how to draw comics, or to help you how to draw comics, this is the one you should have. It's not perfect, but it is very, very close. It also has one of the finest artists ever to grace comics, John Buscema, drawing within its pages, and Stan Lee writing the book. Now, I was very fortunate to be involved in Draw the Marvel Way, which is similar in its approach. I put in there my hints, tips, tutorials of how to draw the Marvel characters. I've been blessed with being able to draw a ton of Marvel characters for Marvel within these pages, and it was 100 issues over just over 4 years. There were some other extremely talented people involved in the book, and it really is a good book in my personal opinion, but it still has not got a patch on this one. So what this series of videos is me effectively going through all the sections, all the lessons, all the chapters of this book, giving you some examples of my artwork that I feel that I've improved, or I've benefited from this book, and how that works for me. And in the chapters where you draw along, I'll be doing some drawings, and hopefully you can draw along with me, and hopefully it'll be of some use to everyone out there, and if nothing else, it'll be an advert for you to go out and buy this book. I'm using a PDF that I got from an educational download. I will put the link to that PDF in the description for each video in the series, but I can't instill enough in you. Go and buy this book and put it on your desk, because it's an absolute must-have. So without further ado, I'll get on with this episode. So here we are with chapter 7. What a fantastic drawing this is of Nick Fury, classic Nick Fury. I think he may look a little bit too old in this one, but I think it's actually based on an image that was in Captain Britain, actually, that John Buscema did a run on. Not 100% sure, I'll have to go check that, but it's still fantastic image, and a great image to show off the human body, or the Marvel figure in perspective, which is what chapter 7 is about. Foreshortening, the knack of drawing the figure in perspective. This chapter's a short one, so we'll get on, but it's vitally important. Take your time with it and make sure you thoroughly understand all the main points. Without a knowledge of foreshortening, all your figures could end up looking like they were drawn on pyramids by the ancient Egyptians. So basically saying they look a bit flat in the lovely way that Stan likes to talk. So you can see here some very basics. You hardly ever look at the figure, another figure in flat perspective. There's usually some part of the body that's tilted towards you, or bent back away from you, or angled in some manner or other. As a side note to this, the way to understand that is to just practice, draw from life, study people, study figures, study your friends, your family. Don't try and look too weird doing it, or creepy doing it, but do study people, the way that they move, and the way that they sit at rest, and their posture, that kind of thing. Every competent comic book artist must know how to deal with this matter of foreshortening the body, and you're no exception. That's good. Here, once again, our practice with spheres, cubes and cylinders will stand us in good stead. Using these geometric shapes for the body will make it easier to solve the vital problem of figure foreshortening. As the pics on the facing page demonstrate, that's the ones I've shown you, with these shapes are tilted away from your eye, they seem to flatten out or to become shorter. That's where the word foreshorten comes from, for being in front. Here's a simple experiment you can try. Holding a drinking glass straight up in front of you, now tilt it slowly back. See how its body seems to foreshorten as you do so. Right, so that's the basics of foreshortening. just read through these little bits here. As you analyse the figures on the facing page, notice how the cubes and cylinders always shorten as they go away from you. As a matter of fact, it might help you to think of the entire figure as a bunch of connected building blocks. The artist, you, has the task of stringing them out and arranging them in the proper position. It's excellent, simple advice. So there's not making any mystery about it, or any making it any kind of magical process. It's literally just thinking about how the connected geometric shapes that form all kinds of things, but in this case human beings, how they work as they move away from you, and studying the perspective of them. It really is quite straightforward once you've got your head around perspective, and once you've got your head around joining all those shapes up. On the pages that follow, you'll see examples of various problems in perspective taken from the actual drawings which have appeared in Marvel Comics. Next to each drawing, John has sketched the building blocks and perspective lines to illustrate how each of the problems was solved by the artist. By comparing the finished drawing with the corresponding block sketch, you should be able to see how the rules that we have given you apply to almost any type of illustration. And I've got some samples of my own, which I'll show in a couple of minutes. But that's absolutely right. I mean, you can see here, looking at the way that works, you can see the perspective, and it's actually the same perspective as the background itself. That doesn't always happen in that way, in order to add interest and dynamics to the composition of the panel. You're not always in exactly the same perspective, person and background, not from a perspective of height. So for instance, if you're using a deep background and you have multiple characters within that background, then obviously what you want to do is draw them in perspective with the perspective lines to make sure you get the associated heights and the comparable heights of those people within the background and compared to each other correct, so that you don't look like you have giants in the foreground and midgets in the background, or tiny people in the background, or whatever, children. You've got to get it right. And then on top of having that perspective in your backgrounds, then you can play with the perspective of your figures, so that they have a dynamic to them in their own way, and you can pick them out of the background. This is gorgeous, actually. You see the way the perspective rules are being used there on the Black Panther. Very, very nicely done. And I believe this is Dracula. It looks a bit Dracula-ish. I may be wrong, but you can see how the hand is stretched out in front. Now that was very much a Kirby thing. Kirby would really push the foreshortening and have these massive hands and digits out in front of his characters to really push drama, really enhance the drama and the energy within the image. And that was very much a Kirby style, a stylistic thing as well. John Buscema is a little bit more into the realism of perspective, and I mean that picture there of the thing is fantastic. The way he's moving there, and Johnny Storm on his back there. It's just superb examples of how that works. So I go and have a quick look at some examples that I have. Now these were from Draw the Marvel Way. This is just straight up perspective, as in you're just looking straight down on the figure, and in a quite dramatic way, the Thor's hammer, the head, the hand obviously is much closer to you than the feet, and so it creates that perspective, but it also creates a lot of drama by having the perspective quite acute, so it nips down to the vanishing point very, very quickly. Let's go to the next one. We've got the next one. Yeah, you go. So this is Hercules, and this is a bit more Kirby-esque actually, because I've really focused on the fist here as jumping out of the image, and the rest of the image being knocked back behind the fist. So it really is. It's a point of interest. It's a point of drama there. A similar thing here with Magneto, but not quite as severe. It's a bit more realistic. You're still behind that hand, but it's not as severe as the Hercules one. And then here actually I've used a box and grid lines to show how a figure can be shown in perspective, but without lots and lots of little boxes. I've literally just sort of put like a bounding box around the figure so that I can get a rough guide of how far the perspective goes down. And so where the perspective is in, so as it gets closer to the vanishing point and things become smaller, you can see how you can, from that point, say, restrict the width of a limb or an element of the body, of anatomy. So that's those examples. As they said, quite a short chapter there. Chapter 8 is going to be much longer. So probably what I'm going to do is I'll do 2 videos this week. So I've already done this one, chapter 7, where we've talked about perspective in the body, in anatomy, and foreshortening. And then I'll jump straight into drawing faces and heads, which is a much longer chapter. It's actually very, very interesting. So hopefully you've drawn along with this. I've got some other bits and pieces going on in here. No, that'll be for the next chapter. As you can see, I'm inking up at the moment on some pages for Storm Chasers, and what I'll hopefully be doing is actually start doing a video blog of me doing some live inking. That will be coming up soon, but I think that's pretty much all there is for this chapter. So I'm going to be coming back with chapter 8, drawing heads and faces. And hopefully you've enjoyed this. Give me a thumbs up or a like, that would be really cool. Obviously you can see me at my website, it's russleach.com, comicbookblackbelt.com. Go over and check my book website out, onlydeathcansavus.com, where you can sign up to the email subscription list. That would be really cool if you could do that. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. It really means a lot for you to subscribe to the channel. If you're not, why not sign up and subscribe to the channel? It really helps me out with the numbers so that I can communicate with a wider audience as much as possible. So that's it from me for this chapter. I'll be back with another chapter again soon. Thanks for joining me in the dojo today, and I'll be back with another video again real soon. Bye bye. Thanks for watching Comic Book Black Belt. If you've enjoyed the content from this video, please like, share or subscribe, and come over and follow me on Twitter. It's been great having you in the dojo. See you again soon.